JavaScript is a language known for its quirks. One of those quirky features is hoisting, and today I'll be explaining it to you in simple, practical terms. Here we declare a variable foo, and we initialize it with a value, then log it to the console. Of course, it logs 1 as expected. Now we separate the value assignment from the declaration, putting the assignment below the console.log, but keeping the declaration above it. It now logs undefined as the variable is declared but not defined. All very simple and all as expected so far. We now remove the declaration. Run it again. This time we get an error because foo has not been declared and we're trying to use it. Again, this is all as expected, but now we come to the quirky part. We again declare foo and give it a value, but after we console.log it. Now, what do you expect to happen? You'd probably expect a reference error as the variable has not been declared before logging it, but instead when we run it, it logs as undefined. This is the same behavior as when we declared the variable, logged it, then assigned it a value. This is a bit confusing, so what's going on here? Hoisting is what's going on here. Hoisting is something the JavaScript engine does before your code is actually executed. The word hoisting suggests something being lifted up, and in a sense, the name is very descriptive. Hoisting is when variable and function declarations are moved to the top of the current scope prior to execution. So let's take a look at what the JavaScript engine would do to this code during the hoisting process. It would take this declaration of foo, and it would move it to the top of the current scope, like this. Note that it would leave the value assignment exactly where it is. This explains why the variable is undefined when we log it, but we don't get a reference error. Also note I said declarations are lifted to the top of the current scope. So if we create a function here, we are creating a new scope, as functions have their own scope in JavaScript. Again, we console.log foo and declare it and give it a value, and we call the function. Then we run the code, and as expected, we get undefined, as foo's declaration has been hoisted to the top of the function. I'm now going to show you something that really clarifies that this is scope-based. We now console.log foo outside of the function after we've called it. And we run everything again. Now, it logs undefined first when we log from within the function, but we get a reference error from the log outside of the function. That's because JavaScript is doing the hoisting like this. So it moves the declaration of foo to the top of the function, as that is the scope in which it is declared. And outside of the function, where we do the console.log, right down the bottom here, right there, this is a different scope in which foo has never been declared. So we get the reference error. It's important to note that JavaScript does this with variables declared with var, but not with const or let. Consts and lets are not hoisted. Function declarations are hoisted. So if we were to declare a function, and then call it before it's been declared, and then run it, it works. This is because JavaScript has just moved the function to the top of the scope. It basically just does this. I should also point out that this works differently with function expressions than it does with function declarations. So if we were to declare myfunc as a variable and assign a function expression to it, but then make the call to it first, we now get an error that it's not a function. If we change the call, instead of having a call, if we change it to just log the value of my func, and we run that, and we now get undefined. This is because, as I said, only the declaration and not the value assignment gets hoisted. So let's see what this gets changed to by the JavaScript engine. So first there will be the declaration of my func, then the log of it, and then the assignment of the function expression to it. So this is why when we try and call it first, my func does exist, but it's not a function as the function has not yet been assigned to it. I hope this clarifies this confusing yet important aspect of JavaScript. This is actually quite important as people have a habit of asking interview questions based on hoisting, so it really is a good thing to know. I have new videos going out regular as clockwork every Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday at 9 AM Eastern Time. Click that subscribe button now and don't miss them.